Hey there, paper geeks and glitter nerds, it's Senna the Crazy Geek Crafter. It is once again time for my Christmas project of the month. And this time I'm making trees with stencils. Firstly, I'll be cutting a few panels to die cut to get the basic shape that I want to stencil on. The cardstock I'm using is from a local hobby shop. It's called Luna Hobby. The paper comes without a brand, so I don't know who actually is making it. And it wasn't the worst to do ink blending on. It wasn't the best either, but we make do. I'm going to get 4 panels out of this piece, and I'll be back when I've finished cutting all that. I'm bringing in some temporary adhesive to keep my panels in check. I did find out that this cardstock peels with this product, unfortunately, but I do save this first panel that I make the mistake on. And my stencil, which I made myself, is not wide enough, so I'm just going to tape off the side so I don't get any color on that. Now I'm going to be using a mixture of pastes and distress inks and stencils I've made myself and some pre-made ones. Now I'm starting out with a green tree. The tree will be mowed lawn, and then I'm going to decorate it with a stencil and some Foreste Moss color. I'm going to start out with the Holtz stencil. I love Plaid. I can't help it. I really can't help myself when I see Plaid, actually. So when I use a stencil this delicate, I do prefer a brush like the one you see here. It's actually for shaving cream for men, but I put a rubber band around the tip to keep it tighter in the tip, and it works wonders with the stencils like this where there are so many tiny holes. I have been thinking about buying makeup brushes, but for now this actually works great. Here's where I regret using my tape, but I do manage to save this panel, and I do not put any adhesive on the front of any of the other ones as a precaution. I don't mind the back side having a few tears in the paper, but the front should be plain and clean. My next tree is going to be dark blue. and I'm going to be using Blueprint Sketch for this. I think it's a very wonderful dark blue color, and I want to be putting some stars on top, but at this point I have not yet decided how to do that. I had a thought that maybe I could use water to take away the color a little bit on the stars and the spots, but it didn't turn out too great. Too much water seeped on the stencil, so I had to find a different way to do this. You have seen me do battle with this jar before, but it is getting really hard. I don't know if I can salvage much more of it. I am thinking about maybe I have to throw it out. But I worked hard to get it back to some sort of consistency that was not too bad. It did take quite a while, and unfortunately, because it was still kind of grainy and stiff, I think that's why it's going to stick in the corners of the stars. But then again, I have some other star stencils and I've had the same problem, but I can't remember if that was also with the Nuvo Mousse. I'm not quite sure. If you are interested in how I make my stencils, I just made a video about that actually as a lead-in to this one. So I'm going to link it up here in the corner if you want to see it. The next tree is going to feature the very Christmassy color red. This one is fired brick, and I noticed that maybe I should clean up before I start a new project. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get gold all over the place. And not that gold and red doesn't go well together. It was just not what I had planned. So here we go. I like this very dark red for Christmas. It is often accompanied by very dark green, but I also like it on its own. This is going to be a primarily red and white card, and I actually think it works out great. Now I discovered a problem with this stencil. I don't know if you can see it. Some of the colors actually stuck in the hearts. I will investigate at a later date if that is actually going to be a problem. I didn't actually have the time when I was making this video, but it is a concern with the laminated plastic that I've been using for stencils. This time I've been experimenting a bit. Therefore, the conclusion of this material, whether it's something I'm going to use in the future, is still pending. And we're moving on to yet another tree. This video I'm actually going to double up my normal amount of cards. I'm going to make 4. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't transfer any red onto this tree, because it's not going to be in red. The colors and the materials I chose for this one was actually a bit of a gamble, but I actually may even like this one the best. The antique linen panel is still drying a bit, but I am starting to look for embellishments. I wanted some embellishment on my green tree, but I didn't really see that the others needed it. This Nuvo drop is unfortunately a bit cold from sitting on my shelf. It's not that I craft in a cold room, it just needs to be a bit closer to human temperature. So I'm going to tuck it up against my skin for a little while in my pocket, so that it warms up. In the meantime, I can work on a sentiment, and I am picking this one, which says that the Christmas tree is waiting in all its glory for us to begin. It's a song, a Danish carol, about the Christmas tree in general, how it brings us hope of spring. So I thought it was befitting with these decorated trees. I was lucky that the sentiment fit with this lawn fawn banner. That will make everything a bit easier on my part. At this part in the card making, I am getting tired and having a lot of pain, so I am making all sorts of weird mistakes when making this. So I got a panel that fit my my small cutting plates here, and I'm gonna use it to cut these. But then again, that was not the best idea either. But I wanted something that could hold the banners while I was stamping them. That makes it easier to do multiple stampings with the same image in the same place on different elements. I am stamping with distressings, even though they are not really excellent at it, but that does ensure that my colors match, and if you stamp it multiple times, it becomes quite clear and readable. Now my banners are in place and my Nuvo drops are good and warm. So now they will dome nicely and have no peaks, since that is often a problem in my opinion when they are too cold. This one was close to runny actually at this point because I took so long making the banners with the sentiments, but the drops look great. I'm not going to mount these panels just yet. They're easier to store this way. They take up less space, and since I am keeping them till Christmas, there is no rush. Like I said, this one with the antique linen is probably my favorite. It turned out so gorgeous. It's not that I don't like the others. This one it's stunning in person, and also on the video actually. These were my Christmas cards for this month. Next week I'll be back with a non-Christmas card, I promise. If you're afraid of missing this next video, you should hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. That makes sure that you get a notification when my new video goes live. Until next week, I hope you'll be having a good day, evening or night.